Hello guys! So today I'm gonna share about my personal story on how to break free and overcome my anxious attachment style in relationships. We want successful relationships, but yet very few of us actually take the effort and dedication to learn about ourselves and how we can show up as a healthy partner that can be the person who can create a relationship like that. We want that love that's healthy and fulfilling and long lasting, yet we are unable to manifest or create that love. And I realized that a lot of the issues and the barriers that are actually preventing us from getting to the place that we want is all the root cause of our inability to love ourselves. When we can't love ourselves, we can't love others. And when we can't show up for ourselves healthily, we can't show up for others healthily. And it had to take me understanding my relationship dynamics and really navigating through what was the failure behind my relationships and the challenges that I felt when I was with my partners in the past. And it has actually led me to understand that I had an anxious attachment style in my relationships, which caused a lot of unhealthy toxic cycles. So in this video, I'm going to address the impacts of having an anxious attachment style, how we can slowly learn to be more secure ourselves. I just want to make a voice and create an awareness that it is okay and it is fine to embrace and be vulnerable to your own past and that imperfect part of you. As long as you're willing to work things out, you can always heal from your traumas and you can always heal from your heartbreaks. The biggest trigger point of my anxious attachment style was fear of abandonment. I realized that this had to do with a lot of my childhood, how I was being brought up. In my household, I think that all of us, our generations, like my parents and my grandparents, none of us know how to express love in the ways that are healthy. And I blamed a lot of it on my parents and my childhood for such a long time until I realized that this childhood was meant to empower me and it was meant for me to grow from it. And because I had a childhood like that, I had the chance to grow and share a story. I really recommend this book called Attach, and I'll insert a photo right here. And this book actually helped me navigate and understand my communication style in my relationships a lot. And I realized that in my relationships, I tend to operate out of fear and I tend to operate out of worry a lot just because of how I was brought up as a child. It can be pretty challenging to deal with your anxiety at first because none of us here, we wish this upon ourselves. All of us want to be secure. All of us want to experience abundant relationship. From all of my failures in my relationships and everything that happened, I realized that healing from my anxious attachment style was the key to operate relationships out of self-love and to operate relationships out of knowing how to be a better person for myself and my partner. So in order for you to make sure that your next relationship cycles from now are more healthy, work on healing to a secure attachment style, and that's going to help you a lot in your relationships, because when you are a secure attachment style person, you would communicate and you would see things from a different perspective, and everything comes from the effort that you have to put in yourself before you want to create the relationship that your mind thinks that you desire. You have to start from yourself. Having fear of abandonment and constantly operating out of anxiety and worries in my relationships actually caused a lot of stress and frustration because I wasn't able to express myself in a healthy manner. And oftentimes people with anxious attachment like me, I think that we tend to give up really easily. Like when things get tough or challenging, you would think that your partner is gonna abandon you, or you're not gonna end up happy, or you guys are not gonna work things out just because you felt like you were abandoned when you were young in your childhood. But I realized that whenever I catch myself and my anxious attachment style resurfacing, when you and someone else are having a conflict, that person is going to unfriend you or you guys are not on good terms now, I would challenge myself and I'll tell myself things like, okay, yes, I have an anxious attachment, but I don't buy it. I choose that I can become the creator in my relationships, and all of the conflicts in my relationships are there for us to grow stronger together. Even for my relationships with family and friends, I started to have this mindset. Whenever I catch myself falling into victim mindset or falling into anxiety, I would remind myself that, hey, I'm no longer the child that was abandoned years ago. I'm now an adult, and I'm able to give myself the assurance and the love that I was lacking as a child. And when I kept assuring myself and I kept pouring into myself instead of wanting others to pour into me, I realized that slowly, when my mindset shift began and my belief system changed, that I needed the love from my parents, or I needed the love from anyone like my partner or my friends, I realized that I became more and more secure. When things happen, and nowadays even when I have conflicts with people, I will be able to assure myself a lot more. And when you are at a place where you are more healed and able to self-validate and affirm and reassure yourself, people sense that energy, and you'll very easily create more healthy relationships. Last time when I had conflicts with my friends, because I had fear of abandonment, I would attract avoidant friends who are like, okay, then let's not talk for a while. But nowadays, because I accept my state and I trust that relationship and I trust my ability to make it work, I tell myself, in a relationship, I operate out of authenticity and I operate out of a trust and a belief in the other person. And my friend would tell me things like, oh, thank you for telling me that. I didn't know that me doing this would cause you to feel this way. So now let's work towards a more communicative relationship. So your frequency and your energy is what you attract. If you are operating out of fear of losing, or you are operating out of worry, you're gonna attract that frequency of outcome. You're gonna attract, like, perhaps you're gonna keep seeing that you and your friends are never going to be able to communicate openly. But now, because I am working towards a more secure attachment in my relationships, I realized that everything started to change, and my relationships with people actually started to prosper and become more open, and we could really exchange a lot better. So that was something I learned, which is why I really recommend the book Attached. And I think that it has really given me a lot of helpful insights and exercises in the book to help me understand myself, explore myself, and then break through of my cycles and my entanglements. So the next thing that I realized really helped me was journaling. I'm gonna make a video on like exactly how I journal and how journaling has entirely transformed my life and my belief system. But I realized that nowadays when I feel anxiety, I like to take my book out and I journal, and I talk to myself like how I want other people to talk to me. And when I learned to communicate with myself healthily, I realized that it's really easy for me to understand myself, and sometimes it all takes 12 seconds. So you feel really reactive and you want to say certain words that hurt the other person, or you want to operate out of a victim mindset. Just take a few moments to acknowledge that your trigger point is there and you suddenly feel anxiety again. Take your journal out and just write about it, or tell the other person. If you are in the middle of the conflict, tell the other person like, let's talk when we're more calm. Let's talk when we are less operating out of emotions. And then take that time and be mature and work on yourself instead of bashing your emotions, lashing out your anxiety and your fears on the other person, because that's the tendency that a lot of anxious attachment style people in relationships have. And that is going to cause really toxic cycles, because when we're anxious, when we're fearful, we either say words they don't mean, or they operate out of lack and they operate out of a hurt state of being. And when you are in a lack state of being, it's really hard for you to think of solving the problem. You keep magnifying your victim mindset and things like, oh, he doesn't love me anymore, oh, he's gonna leave me. But in fact, we have to think this way, that we are having a conflict, but that doesn't mean that it's the end of the day. We can work this out together. We can solve problems. And it has to start from you. A lot of people say that, oh, I meet people that are unable to solve problems. Then that is your projection. We have to learn to see what we are able to control in a relationship. If you sense yourself putting in effort, yet the other person doesn't see it, that's their deal, and then you can walk away. But a lot of times, what you see in relationships are always a projection of your energy level and what you're projecting. If we are able to heal our anxious attachment and talk in a way where it's a win-win kind of agenda and intention, I'm sure that the other person will be open to communicate back. That's how I learned to have a more healthy communication in my relationships, was when I learned that every single time I see myself having anxiety or other people not reacting to how I think that I wanted to as a child, I would keep reminding myself that I can't expect these things from other people. I can only be the one to give myself, and I will trust myself, and I will operate out of an abundance and a creator mindset instead of a victim mindset. I truly learned that in relationships, if we don't become more secure and healed ourselves, we will just keep creating toxic, unhealthy relationships. So anything that you want to manifest has to start from your own frequency. If you're operating out of this frequency, you're only going to attract things at this frequency. So we have to elevate our frequency, which is why I talk about elevating our consciousness and a lot of healthy practices that we can put in our everyday lives, how we can change the way that we think to bring us to a more healed and healthy place in terms of our life, our relationships, our mental health, in our career. This is something that I am still navigating through, because I don't think that anything is completely healed, because there's always more work to be done, and I'm always open to learning. And one thing that I learned, which is a really valuable lesson, is that anything in this life that you want to achieve, it really has to start from you embodying this energy. If you want a healthy relationship, you have to start to be the one to give yourself. And when you're able to give yourself, you're able to give other people, and then you will attract people who are likewise. So I stopped blaming my exes, people around me for hurting me, but instead I take that energy back, and I realize that if I can elevate my consciousness, I can increase my awareness and be a more loving person and have more abilities to self-love and self-validate, I will definitely attract more abundance in the future. And that has brought me so much growth rather than staying in that victim mindset. So I hope that this video helped all of you guys, and I hope all of us realize and believe that we can all become more secure and healed. And I'm not a professional, but I love to share my story, and I love to share what I learned. And I hope that in my journey of my self-growth realizations, I can help anyone out there to realize that it is okay to embrace our imperfections and use our unique journey to inspire anyone, because all of us here, we deserve happiness, we deserve abundance, we deserve love, but it has to start from ourselves. Thank you for watching, and do watch my playlist and subscribe for more content on my self-growth journey.